Hello, everyone. This is Sobanjo, and today I actually have a special guest with me today. Tricia Millice is joining us today, and she's going to be talking about different things. Tricia is a lady that I met not too long ago, and she actually got on my program, the Solve Your Live Video Agitation course. And I'm super excited, Tricia, that you're able to join us today. Do you want to say a quick hello to everyone?
Hello, I'm really excited to be here and thank you so much for inviting me on. I'm excited to talk about your program.
I'm super excited that you chose to do this actually. First of all, to hear some of the transformations that you've seen in your business, but I didn't want it to be for my ears only. I wanted to have other people that have questions around live videos. How can I use live videos? What should I be doing? And Tricia actually is in Canada with me here, though we're very far apart.
Yes, we are.
Yes. Can you tell us where you're joining us from?
I live in Alberta, just outside of Calgary, Alberta. Actually, my husband and I downsized to a small town 2 years ago this summer. So we're doing the empty nest thing. Unfortunately, today, even though it's spring, it's kind of snowy out. And it's a little sad. We're not enjoying the great blue Alberta skies and the sun today.
Oh, too bad. Well, we're hanging out together and we're having fun. So,
Nice.
yes. So, and I'm not going to do the talking for you. I'm going to let you do the talking. But before we go ahead and talk about the Slay Your Live Video Agitation course, why don't you tell us a little bit about you? Who do you help in your business?
My business is called Clutter to Clarity, and I help midlife moms reclaim their time, energy, and spaces and to find their freedom of voice and their freedom of choice again.
I love that. Can you tell us a little bit more about that? Like, you help midlife moms to reclaim their time, energy, and spaces so that they can find their voice and choice. Very good. Tell us a little bit more about what you mean by, again, like, who are these people?
Well, these are women who are transitioning from that time of, when you have your little kids, you've got either teenagers, older kids in university, or perhaps like me, you have kids that don't live at home anymore, and that transition into finding out who you are now in your life and kind of looking back at who you used to be before kids. And then, life and kids, kind of get in the way. It's not that you didn't like that part of your life. It's just that now you're at a new crossroads and trying to figure out who you are and find that voice of that person and understanding that you do have a choice in where your life goes from here.
I love that. That's the point where I say amen to that, right? For real, I think that this is really very needed because a lot of people find, okay, now what? What do I do? And I'm sure some of the women that have not really even got into that stage that are preparing would find your work really helpful and useful as well, right?
For sure. Yeah. My journey started when I was 40 and starting to realize that my kids, I have twin boys. And when they were 10-ish, 11-ish, I started to kind of get that thought of, there's going to be a point in their lives where they're going to have their own life, and what am I going to do? Right. So yeah, for sure. When you're preparing for it, I think there is always that thought in our heads as moms of like, ooh, what's the next thing going to be? I mean, as it starts to slow down and your kids start to get a little bit older, you have more time to start kind of processing that transition coming.
Beautiful. I like the word processing. Because this is what we do as moms, right? We have all the strategies and we've done it with the children being at home, but now we need to refocus that brain power and everything in the space, I believe, for you. What are some of the things that you help your people do?
Well, I am a habit coach and I'm also a professional organizer, and I have a bit of a social work background as well. And so when I work with clients, I offer different packages, but the one that I'm going to talk about is how to understand why clutter exists. So when life gets in the way and it gets busy, sometimes we find ourselves getting overwhelmed by physical stuff because families, kids, as we all know, come with a lot of stuff, right? And so what I do with my clients is we talk about things like mindset, like emotions that can be part of the clutter, because I really totally believe that physical clutter is a symptom of underlying things that may be going on. Plus behaviors, habits, routines can also contribute to all of that clutter. So we explore all of the different aspects of the clutter in your life, emotionally, physically, mentally, and we take the time to really focus on what's happening right now while you're in it, where it came from, like what are some of the whys of how it's happening, how emotions can affect being able to move forward, what keeps you stuck, and also exploring how to make changes to those habits, behaviors, and routines and mindsets to help you to move forward and clear the clutter and start to be able to explore who it is you want to be. Forward.
Awesome. I just listening to you and I could see the way you're going from section to section in the life and in the mind and the emotions of your clients. I love that. I really do. I actually did put a link to this for anyone that is watching and you're wondering, how can I reach out to Tricia? I put a link to her Facebook profile so that you can, go see what she does there. And if you're in this stage, you're in the midlife and you're thinking, I need to find myself in all of this, you would find a link to join her group where she teaches a lot more about what she does. So we're streaming right now into my Going Live to Gain Clients group. Part of the strategies that I teach my clients to do is you do a content anywhere you do it, on Zoom, in a group, wherever. We're going to use that same content to do a lot more. So it's still going to be on other platforms. So is there anything else you'd like people to know about the work that you do? Maybe a sneak peek into your story?
Sure, I can give a little synopsis of my journey. As I mentioned before, my journey kind of started when I was 40, just before I was about to turn 40, when I had the realization that my kids were growing up. I kind of had a moment of clarity of like, whoa, holy smokes, it's going to get kind of different. And so I kind of did a little deep dive back into my past and started to think about what was it that I really wanted to be when I grew up, right when I was younger. And I wanted to be a psychologist, but at 40, I didn't really want to go to school for 7 years to become a psychologist. So I actually signed up for university for the first time in my life at 40. I went to university for 4 years and I came out with a diploma in social work. And I loved aspects of the social work piece, especially with the deep diving into emotions and dynamics when families and stuff like that. However, that wasn't really quite what was in my heart yet. So I really had this journey of trying to figure out for the last 14 years, trying to figure out what it is my heart's calling, what's written on my heart. And so I eventually found professional organizing, which is something that I am super passionate about. I love organized spaces. It started out as me a bit of control freak because I like to have controlled spaces. But it's also something that I know I created a sanctuary in our home. And for me, knowing where things are in my home actually helps to calm my anxiety. And it helps me to kind of focus and function during the day. And it helped me to open up to different creative outlets, such as cooking. I love to cook. So loving to have my kitchen organized and functional and efficient really helps with that. I'm also a crafter, so that was able to open up that kind of creativity for me, organizing my craft supplies, and it just became this passion. So I discovered I could do it as a business. So I did it as a business, and I did that until 2020. As we know, things kind of changed. Yeah, just like that
year.
So I actually started to pivot towards online, and my heart started to speak to me about coaching. And I had taken some coaching, integrative health coaching courses as well, which really were exciting to me. So then I started to think, how do I put that together? And all of these things, as I'm moving forward, learning more about myself and dealing with letting go of the stuff that was keeping me stuck, like the fear and shame and guilt and all of those emotions that can come up. And also that transition from being mom all the time, 24/7, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, to being an empty nester was a huge transition. And then downsizing was also a huge transition. So I had like 2 years of my life, which were, we had 2020 and all of that, what came with it. And then we also I had all of this change happening at the same time. So really trying to focus on listening to my heart and finding my voice and understanding that I had a choice in how I got to move forward with that. So I've kind of compiled my organizing piece with my passion around midlife women, especially finding their voice in the world and finding out who they are and really leaning into that. So that's how we got here today.
Wow. Now that's a lot. I just feel like digging into each portion of the story, but because of time, we're not going to do that today. But I'm going to encourage everyone listening to this, it's such a beautiful thing to actually find yourself, to find your voice, to find yourself again out of, all of the clutter and everything, and to have systems around your life where you're doing life the way you know from inside how to do things. So let's go straight into SYLVA, okay, the course, okay? What was it like for you taking the Slay Your Live Video at Agitation course?
I think it was because like I somewhere along the line got stuck in my head about live video. I used to do live video quite often, and then all of a sudden something happened and I lost the confidence, and I kind of got stuck in there, and I was like, I can't do it. I can't do it. I kept trying, and I really struggled with that. I think I struggled with my message and stuff. So you're the going live course kind of just gave me permission to not be perfect anymore, because I got, I think, stuck in my head in a perfectionist mode. So if it's not perfect, then I'm not doing it. And I was able to kind of listen to you and your stories, and it kind of helped me get back into the done is better than perfect, just do it kind of thing. So just hearing the stories that you share and the pieces of information that we were giving, it just really helped to push me out of that and outside of my comfort zone and just do the very first video.
Now, that's like music to my ears, because coming from a professional organizer, I know how it has to be proper. It has to be really, really nicely done, right? And I love that. I love just you being able to tell us that. Thank you. We have also the courses that we buy, but actually going through with the process is a major thing. Just in case anyone is there watching, they already bought the course, but they've not gone through it. Would you like to say something about, about that?
Well, the process was, yeah, that whole stepping into the live video was like still terrifying. So like, oh my gosh, I didn't do it. But I think just because each time that I watched one of the videos, I got a little bit more information, and then I felt a little bit less anxious. Just the information that you share and that you give was calming to me. It was like, it's okay. You've been there, you've done this, and you're sharing your experience. And you're sharing like the fact that you share some of your mistakes and stuff are really helpful. But also I laughed because when you told the story of the glasses, this is what I do too. I put my glasses on and this is my live face, and I can go on and do it. So the experience itself was like, okay, now I don't feel silly. This is just something I need to do today.
Yeah, whatever it's going to take, right? Just do it.
Get me on there and I'll do it.
I love that. But what would you say is the difference in your videos now that you've gone through the course? What's the difference in your business with regards to videos?
Well, my confidence level is much higher now in the process, but it was because you taught like that you have a plan when you're going to go, like, think about what it is that you want to say, but also choose one thing to talk about. So one package that you have, maybe one program that you have, maybe, and focus on one person. That made a big difference to me when you said focus on one person. You're talking to only that person. And that really helped me kind of change my mindset when I went into doing my lives. So I was just talking to that one person.
I love it. I love it. I'm so excited. Now, there's someone out there that still, they want to get more clients with live videos, but they're still wondering, what's this Slay Your Live Video Agitation course thing? I'm not sure if I need it. What would you say to them?
I would say it's a great place to start to kind of drill down to what might be getting in your way of actually doing it, like actually taking action and going live. I like how it's laid out, and it's pretty simplified for someone to just kind of watch it and do it. There's no complicated, there's no equipment that you need to get, there's no fancy anything. It's just like, this is how it's done. Just go do it and worry about the other stuff later.
Awesome. Awesome. And that's exactly what it is. Because you see, I'm a video coach, and I didn't mention this to you earlier. I was in a Zoom call earlier today, and my sound was off, way off. I'm not even sure what people are hearing right now, but I've been dealing with my own tech all day. Okay. And I was in this group, and one of my friends was like, you're the video coach, your sound is off, and I'm so grateful that she said it, but I would have been stressed, I would have been stressed if I didn't know that my voice was, so it's just a matter of, start from where you are and just move gradually But the main aim is get clients as you're doing it, because if people don't know about what you're selling, if people don't know how you can help them, they're not going anywhere. And then there's the impact and income as well, because it's not just about, just giving away. There's also showing people, serving them by selling a process that is actually going to be like, let's do this together kind of piece. Yeah.
Just one more thing. First of all, when I was speaking into that asking for the sale kind of thing, that was a piece that was missing for me. I was really spinning my wheels in my business and asking for the sale. I think I was overcomplicating it, overthinking it. So this helped me to learn how to just kind of throw that in there, and it's just out there, like, if you like me, follow me kind of thing.
Exactly.
And also, I just, being an entrepreneur, an online entrepreneur, it can be pretty isolating and pretty lonely. So it's just really nice to be able to find people like you who are on your side and have the same vision of how to get yourself out into the world, but also being there as a supportive. And it's also really important, I think, for me, because my passion is women supporting women. So thank you for supporting us.
I really appreciate that. And like you said, it's a lonely world out there. Your friends and family may not even understand what you're going through, because if they're not online trying to sell something, they may not get it. And so that's why we need each other. And I'm really glad that I get to share you with my audience today, and whoever's going to watch this 20 years from now. Maybe at that time, we're going to have different texture of skin and all that, But really, it's just a blessing to be able to change lives, And you mentioned something about having that confidence to ask for the sale. I heard it explained as you're serving when you're selling. Okay, you're serving when you're selling. Now, it's going to take a little bit of time for you to actually process it, that when you ask for someone to pay for something, you're actually helping them. Now, if you don't ask them and you're afraid, you're thinking, you're actually not helping them. You know why? Because if you ask them, people commit to what they pay for, right? And so if they don't commit, if they don't, put their money in it, you're doing them a disservice, and you say you want to help, then go ahead and help. And for the other people that are not maybe at that stage yet, that can commit financially, your content will help them, right? But the ones that really want the service, then they go to the next level. And I'm really glad to hear all that you shared with us today. For anyone that's watching the replay, if you're wondering, like, where do I find the information about Tricia? I already put the link in the description. And for the course, just do #course in the comments, and I'm going to come in and give you a link to where to get the material. All right. Thank you so much, Tricia, for sharing with us today. I'm really, really grateful for the opportunity. And I hope that the snow clears out and you get to do some.
Actually, next week. So thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I really, truly am grateful for this opportunity as well. And I really appreciate you.
Oh, you're very welcome. Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Bye.